rescission. This was from October 30th. Councillor Austin, rescission of council motion, October 30th, 2018, CFL Stadium. Councillor Austin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Halifax Regional Council 1 rescind its motion of October 30th, 2018, directing staff to, among other things, bring a detailed analysis back to council on the Schooner Sports and Entertainment proposal for the stadium at Shannon Park, and 2, direct that staff take no further action on the stadium proposal submitted by Schooner Sports and Entertainment.
Second by Councillor Cleary. Just to note that this will require 2/3 as it is a notice of rescission. Councillor Austin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, colleagues. I know I've filled up the inboxes on this, but I'm bringing this forward because I really feel compelled to, and for 2 reasons. First, we've now seen the broad outlines of the proposal, so we know what Schooner Sports is asking us, and rather than just drift into an in-depth staff analysis, I think it's worthwhile to check back in here with council to make sure that we are, in fact, wanting to move forward with this. My second reason comes from my own personal answer to number 1, having looked at the proposal. Is this worth further analysis? For me, the answer is no. We were told by Schooner Sports, the pitch to all of us is that we would be getting a private sector-driven proposal. That's not what I'm seeing that's come back to us. We are being asked to pay to build the stadium. We're being asked to contribute towards the ongoing capital costs. That means when the score clock breaks there, we're going to be on the hook for at least something. We're being asked to share the tax revenue for not just the stadium, but development at Shannon Park, development that will largely happen anyway, with or without a stadium. We're being asked to guarantee the loan, or at least someone on the government side is. We are being asked to take on the risk of the team failing, since the complicated payback scheme depends on there being a team actually there to pay us back and to manage the operating costs. We're being asked, at least by omission, to fix the transportation plan. I want to ask you, did anybody look at the transportation piece and say, yeah, that makes sense, that's viable? I mean, it's not. So the burden of making that into something that will actually work will fall on us. How we manage that? Well, I mean, it's not hard to take a look at and imagine that we will take money that is currently in the federal provincial infrastructure program and redirect it towards infrastructure to support this at Shannon Park, which means other projects around our municipality will then not happen. Tellingly, in this long list of asks, the only thing we're not being asked to do is share in any potential profits, if there are any. We're going to pay to build the stadium, help with the ongoing costs, assume the risk, fix the off-site transportation needs, but not own anything, and leave the profits to Schooners. This is quite the business proposal and not what I would have characterized as private sector driven. There's another point I want you to consider. We already have a shortage of capital dollars. If you think back to February when we were sweating how to keep the tax increase low, how to pay for our long-term capital, where we've got a lot of good plans like the library facilities plan, the aquatic strategy, the integrated mobility plan, moving forward together plan, and we don't have a clear plan as how we're going to pay for those. And as Jacques and Jane have pointed out many times now, we also have a lot of deferred maintenance with our existing assets. It's hard to keep that going. And so with that context, it's hard for me, I can't justify then taking $2 million a year or a giant upfront payment and diverting this into the stadium. Since there's no money tree at City Hall, if we choose the stadium project, we are going to be choosing not to do other projects. That might be unpleasant, but that's just a fact of life. I know you have doubts and concerns about this proposal, and I know pulling the plug on this now is politically scary. I know it's far easier to just let this drift along, have staff do an analysis, then have that report come back, and then use that as the basis for your vote. But I want to ask you, given all that we've now had, does anything in your head, your heart, your gut, does anything in that suggest that there's anything that's going to come out of this that is workable? And 2, is this really your priority? If the answer to either of those is no, then we should end this now rather than sink 6 months worth of time into this. How many times around this room have we looked at and complained about how long it takes staff reports to come back? I mean, that's one of the things that's always a problem for us. Well, this is part of why we need to be particular about the priorities we choose. So for me, when I look at this, I just don't have any confidence in what has been submitted will result in anything that I can vote for. So I think we should bail out of this now. Thank you.